During the conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the Tiers, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make will affect your character and how major factions of the Tiers respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Alright, let's see. The Bastard City stood on the northern... Wow, really? That's what it's called? The Bastard City? Its history did not look at us favorably. The Bastard City... Hold on. I gotta look at it this way because my counter's in the middle. And so, Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos Empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tiers, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was a little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' enemy conquests. Circumstances were ideal to prove your worth as a soldier in the Kairos army. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the Tiers. Kairos will be insurmountable. Select a token. In the first major engagement of the war, Kairos armies crossed the mountains to establish a foothold. Both armies are sent their forces to prepare. History would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of the conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus. Each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? Seeing that I'm a diplomat, I feel like I joined the Disfavored. Because the Disfavored seem more strategic, and the Scarlet Chorus seems like more like the Zerg. They just Zerg, put all the things in there. You lent your skill to the elite Disfavored scouts to capture the border garrison. Graven Ash insisted that an early victory in the offensive would boost the morale of troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. Here you just raided and got every embodied thing. Apparently he's just okay. Let's go. Let's go with the Disfavored. The Oathbound scouts identified a modest border defense and collaborated on an organized attack that would leave the enemy uncoordinated and cut off from aid. You oversaw the preparations and offered your opinions on the strategy. When the clashing of swords and spears fell to silence, followed by the cheering of Disfavored scouts, you were the least surprised. Okay. You found an ally within the city to prepare the way for approaching armies. The Bastard City residents' fire mages threatened the first leg of the conquest. Kairos forces put a stop to unchecked power. I'd probably get an inside agent. With the border garrison captured by your disfavored allies, you traveled ahead of Kairos' armies and lurked in the shadows of the Bastard City. You decided that you were converting one of the locals to Kairos' side would help bring the city to its knees. You enlisted a bitter captain of the guard to sell military secrets to the disfavored. Better that Kairos forces march to their next inevitable victory, well informed. You come to your arrangement with a well-connected smuggler who knew how to sneak agents of the Scarlet Chorus behind the city walls. Selling secrets. Let's go inside the city. After accepting this deserved payment, the smuggler uncovered a long-forgotten tunnel that intersected the sewers of the Bastard City. Armed with maps of the subterranean layout, your Scarlet Chorus allies fanned to occupy various city districts undercover. They spent the ensuing weeks murdering key officials and sabotaging defenses wherever possible, weakening the Tier's capital under the very noses of its leaders. Your tactics of infiltration placed you in the Bastard City ahead of the main armies. Your work softened the city's defenses for the arrival of Kairos' forces, but you wanted to give a decisive gesture that would give your allies meaningful advantage. How did you assist the fall of the bastard city? You challenged the commander of the bastard city defenses in an honorable fight to the death. The disfavored wished to spare soldiers' lives for the battles ahead and civilian lives for occupation. You spread the word of Kairos, converted the poor and disaffected into the hidden army of the Scarlet Chorus. Once the dust settled, the army wished to bolster their troops with their sleeper cell. Oh, and you get abilities. What's this ability? Warrior's Respite. Negative 50 damage, plus 15 health. Okay. Searing Palm. I'm not into that. Conceal that's not bad. I mean, it's between these two, honestly. Keeping to the challenge, you eliminate the leaders one by one. Now we're gonna go with this. This seems nice. This seems nice. The city marshal was an old but experienced fighter, and his value to the guard was an accepted truth. After making guarantees for your protection, you met him in the square of the market district and fought in view of the tense onlookers. The battle drew on longer than you thought possible. Good fortune struck when an ornamental chain hanging from the marshal's armor snagged the quillion of his sword, and granting you the opportunity to end his life swiftly. Kairos forces celebrated your return to camp, and this dissolution of the enemy morale. All agreed that the bastard city was poised to crumble. And that's how I won that city. So I'm more of a disfavored person, I assume. The bastard city settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos' banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tyranny sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with armies advancing into your realm. So... If we go here, deposits of iron. Turn after St. One's face with discern. Or if we go here, the troops of the mountain realm stood idle. Bastard tier fell. We all have to get across here, but I like the weapons. Let's go with weapons. How long do I have to do this? Years ago, the Lethian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and mercenary companies meant the caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. Lethian's Crossing drew Kairos' attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kairos' control, the northern smith majors could set up workshops to refine ore and arm the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Archon of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Tyranny dispatched you to travel alongside Kairos' forces to bring order to the region. Alright, what are we doing? The Archons of Song power inside the mind of the disfavored troop. You discovered a clever solution to improve production of iron and Work day and night. Alright, what about this? Siren, the Archon of Song, used her arcane charm to lure locals into joining Kairos' army as the patroness of the god the Scarlet, as her efforts were critical. When an enthralled disabled soldier joined her cult, his company feared that the Archon growing out of control needed to be stopped. The Kairos Smith Majors worked day and night to create weapons. No one faulted their dedication, yet production was low. The plans that came to light proved the decisiveness of the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus. On one hand, any additional manpower was needed for fighters, not forges. On the other hand, the celebrated weaponry of Kairos armies needed to be fiercely guarded. The Scarlet Chorus took refugees from the recent influx and forced them to servitude in Kairos military. You repurposed these individuals to haul wagons of iron for your smith mages. This proved an inconvenience to the Scarlet Chorus, who relied on their force numbers to be. You conscripted the hope of the local tribe of beastmen. Their strength would be more than offset the disobedience. This favored protest the savages have access to secrets of iron, but their voices were few compared to the sport of the Scarlet. More slaves! The population of Lethland's Crossing had swelled from the emptying lands destroyed by Kairos' armies. Although the Scarlet Chorus fought to keep the refugees under their control, the need for protection could not wait. The new recruits were reassigned to haul iron ore from the treacherous mine shafts, labor more befitting slaves than Kairos artisans. Though Disfavored grew stronger with the advantage of more weapons, the Scarlet Chorus diminished as their ranks found themselves one less opportunity for growth. Tensions rose as Favored and Scarlet Choruses rubbed elbows with the mercenaries hard to guard the forge. As forges improved production, both armies demanded preferential treatment. Since you aided the production of weapons, commanders of both armies lobbied for additional arms. They offered all manners of bribes in next line of the fitting session of Master Forge. How would you sate their lust for iron? You let the Disfavored. You gave iron to Scarlet Chorus, knowing they paid well for any killing too. Weaponry such of a claim was reserved for the high. You allowed no change. Yes, let's do this. Fuck both of you! Using language that left nothing open to interpretation, you let both the commanders know that bribery would not be tolerated in Kairos' military. That didn't stop either of them from seeking you out again, making promises of wealth and advancement if you showed special favor. Deciding that enough was enough, you ordered both the commanders flogged in view of their armies, letting pain and humiliation teach which reason had failed. Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the voices of Nura injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. The Trinon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kairos' more responsible servants. Only a token garrison would be left behind while the armies returned to the front. As the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increasingly tensions and hostility toward one another, Trinon declared it was best that only one force control the crossing. Let's go with Disfavored. The Disfavored placed a modest garrison in the settlement of Lethean Crossing. Though the force was larger than might be needed to police the small settlement, protecting the forge-bound ironsmiths became the true agenda of the defense force, as these magical craftsmen kept the Disfavored invasion suit in iron. Relieved at the departure of the Scarlet Chorus, the citizens of the Lethean Crossing felt they got the least of two burdens. You received word from Graven Ash thanking you for your decision. The forge-bound and their weaponry could not be entrusted to the voices of Niraj. Alright, so I decided instead of doing the Vilum Citadel, I kind of want to do it Stalwart, because I'm going Disfavored. I chose everything I re-chose everything the same I did the first time around, and I'm just gonna go with military because I feel like the saber is just military. I don't know how that's gonna affect my game because I've never played this game before, but I just have a good feeling about this. The realm of stalwarts was best known for its proud army, disciplined, courageous, and undefeated on their home soil. Skill and resolve made Stalwart a military power that Kairos forces approached with due caution. With its forces with with its southern position, Stalwart had been Slardy safe for more. Watching for 2 years as his neighbors fell to the Kairos forces. On the dawn of the third year of the war, forces were finally posted to invade their army. Okay. Stinging defeat led to accusations among Kairos' armies. Tragedy struck when hungry Scarlet Chorus forgers disproportionately saved supplies. Ooh boy. Stalwart defenders burned their crops as they retreated, leaving the invaders little to forage. Starving, the Scarlet Chorus mob raided from the Dude, we gotta share. Scarlet Chorus commanders argued that the Horde was starving, being the largest of Kairos' army. They were also the least provisioned. The men were wrong to steal, but the disfavored were equally wrong to withhold supplies from the allies. You agreed with the Chorus version of events and ordered the disfavored supply to be shared. The thieves themselves would be punished with the loss of a hand and returned to the front lines. The disfavored found this sickening apparition of justice and surrender supplies. We're all in this together, guys. Better than dead and red. A string of master suicides led to the stern Sir making demands of its favored. New Sir's courage provoked a third rage. Scarlet Chorus mages discovered a spell to turn beastmen slaves against their handlers. The army prepared to deploy this tactic elsewhere, but the disfavored protested. The use of unsanctioned magic practice ran contrary to Kairos' law, and beastmen were considered too erratic to be relied on as shock troops. You know, you can't trust beastmen. Fuck beastmen. Execute the mages. The Scarlet Chorus argued that their tactics were suppressed by the disfavored rigid sense of ethics. You need ethics! Which didn't apply to their side of the military campaign. You listened to these complaints with interest, wondering if they suggested some greater flaw in the conquest, but stood by your decision. Disfavored took the more orderly approach. Kairos' peace meant nothing without order. The disfavored carved a slow and steady path into the heart of the stalwart, surrounding the enemy's massive fortress. With the main bulk of their forces defeated, the enemy leadership retreated to their mighty fortress, content to wait out the war. The Overlord answered this imprudence with an Edict of Storms over the peninsula, a devastating spell that would endure for as long as the cowardly hearts of the stalwart leaders persisted in beating. Pleased by your efforts, Tyranny deemed you to proper represent to deliver the edict. Aside from being given a 3-day window to read the edict, you received no other instructions. Agreeing with the wishes of the disfavored, you proclaimed the edict at once. The stalwarts had ample opportunity to surrender. In an attempt to fuck it! We must show them no mercy! You agree with the disfavored rationale. The leaders of the stalwart had refused honorable battle, and too many disfavored lives were lost in the campaign. Since the last regent refused to leave the keep, you would let him watch as his people suffer. Without hesitation or regret, you broke the seal of the Kairos Edict of Storms and read the Overlord's incantation. You will bow before me! I'm already turning evil, Jesus. The clear skies darkened as you read the final words of the edict. A flurry of wind and rain whipped through the rolling plains and craggy canyons, turning rock, uprooted trees, and hapless soldiers into hazardous shrapnel. Armed with a measure of foresight, you were able to remove yourself from the area before the storms grew more violent. Over time, the nearby communities told of cyclones consisting of thousands of soldiers worth limbs, spears, armor, and skulls. What more, the weather showed no signs of dissipating. Several units of the Third who fought the enemy in spite of the advancing storm were caught in the Overlord's magic. The few survivors regrouped and nursed their wounds. Their failure to topple the stalwarts Legion shamed them into believing the dead were more fortunate. The name Stalwart fell from use. People called it the Blade Grave for the remade landscape festooned with iron and bronze armaments of the once two great legions. As Kairos' forces departed, you spare a glance back at the ruins of Staros, marveling at your work. You didn't have long to rest before he called you in your service once more. Okay, let's do this. I am merciless. Use spacebar to unpause the game during combat to issue orders to your party. Okay? I will be a tyrant! Alright, gotta get in the mindset. I am evil. I am evil. I am lawful evil. Yeah, let's go with that. I'm lawful evil. Damn these loading times. How are you guys doing today? I am good. Damn these loading times.
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance, but months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Well, shit!